coffee.
You looking sharp? Hi. Good, good.
Good morning. How are you? Good, good.
Good, how you doing?
Nice, pretty good.
Make sure you tell me what fall out this afternoon.
I'm the one that gotta watch out for.
Go up and stand.
Yeah, I guess we're standing.
Yeah, I saw it. Okay, you can go back. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We will begin in a few minutes. At this time, we respectfully request each conference subject to other electronic devices for 7 to 7 people. As a reminder, this is an indoor ceremony.
You like this? I don't wear that except for when I have to.
morning. Welcome to today's retirement ceremony. Today, the men and women of the United States Air Force pay special tribute to Colonel Douglas DeLaMotta on the occasion of his retirement from 23 years of active duty service with the United States Air Force. Please stand for the entrance of the official party, the presentation of the colors, and the singing of the national anthems.
What's the colors? Colors. Up. Reset. colors turn. Huh.
Chaplain Mansberger, please come forward to give the invocation.
I invite you to pray with me. Lord our God, we come to your presence this day with hearts full of gratitude for this time which you permitted Colonel Doug Delamater to serve America by leading us with all his heart. We thank you for him because he has demonstrated and taught us by his words and his example to be faithful in duty, service, and honor to you, our families, and America. We give you thanks for his many years of faithful service. We pray that his retirement be full of exciting adventures and strong relationships as he is led by your hand. We're thankful for the gifts of leadership and friendship that he has given to each one of us here today. Lord, we humbly ask that as Colonel Delamater retires, you make this a memorable event today for he and Trish, but made lasting, positive impacts as leaders, friends, and family. Thank you for the many unforgettable moments of life we've shared together. Bless now with your spirit, Doug and Trish, and may the days be before them filled with meaningful relationships, great adventures, and joyous journeys. This I humbly pray in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Honor Guard, Ms. Megan Richardson, and Chaplain David Mansberger. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I would like to introduce the official party for today's ceremony. The Commander, United States Forces Japan and 5th Air Force, Lieutenant General John Dolan. Our honoree for today's ceremony, the Commander, 374th Airlift Wing, Colonel Douglas Delamater. Additionally, I would like to take the time to recognize our distinguished guests in attendance for today's ceremony. The spouse of the presiding official, Mrs. Nancy Dolan. The spouse of the honoree, Mrs. Tricia Delamater. And their children, Jenna, Mason, Christian, and Danica. The Mayor of Fusa City, Honorable Ikuo Kato, and his spouse, Kumiko. The Mayor, Akishima City, Honorable Joichi Kitagawa. The Mayor, Mizuho Town, Honorable Koemon Ishizuka. The Commander of Japan Air Self-Defense Force, Air Defense Command, Lieutenant General Hiroaki Fukue, and his spouse, Naomi. The Vice Commander of Japan Air Self-Defense Force, Air Defense Command, Lieutenant General Hiroaki Maehata. The Chief of Staff, Japan Air Self-Defense Force, Air Defense Command, Major General Masatsugu Araki. The Commander, Japan Air Self-Defense Force, Central Aircraft Control Warning Wing, and Aruma Air Base, Major General Yoichi Yamamoto. The Director General, North Kanto Defense Bureau, Mr. Maki Koyanagi. Finally, we would like to recognize all fellow wing commanders, Chief Master Sergeants, First Sergeants, and our Samurai and Kansai warriors, in addition to all of our local government and Friendship Club members in attendance today. At this time, we invite the presiding official to provide his remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant General Dolan.
Okay, so who sang songs? Then come on up here. this is a very emotional roller coaster day for the Del Mars. And I guess the good news is we're going to do this event first, because this is really the event that we're going to celebrate with us. And I want to first offer my thank yous for the mayors came here today, and for the great leadership of the ADC under the leadership of Joe Kukwe, and all our both the GHI and our government officials who have come here today. So thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot to Del Mar. And it also is it's a great indication of our alliance together here in So, how does this retirement work? For those of you who have not been to an Air Force retirement, this is usually the time that we roast a bit the person who's going to retire. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but we're going to talk about the folks here in the front row, okay? And then we're going to present an award for the service that Colonel Del Mar has done here as wing commander. And then we're going to publish this message, this order. It's 29 words, and at the end of that order, Colonel Del Mar is going to be retired. In 23 years, it's done just like that. No gold watch, it's just done. And so we lead up to that. We will give him one more. He officially still is on active duty, so he's got to turn over the gat on that. But this is why it's so emotional. But you know, when you look at what Doug has done, he served our country for 23 years, and so has his family up here. Now, Doug has done everything to the fullest. I mean, when he takes on a task, it's on off, right? Probably more on than off. A lot of your commanders here are going, yeah. All right. You know, he went to Cornell University in New York, and he played football. Now, I gotta admit, when I went up to Google Cornell University, sports and athletics was not one of the options.
So it's Division I.
But you know, collegiate ball player. You know, a lot of us cannot say that. But he graduated as a distinguished graduate out of RTC, and ever since then, Doug has been on fire. So he goes to Reese Air Force Base, and when he graduates out of there, he gets a C-130, and he starts a C-130 career at Hope Air Force Base. And that's where he Hope, where the C-130 community is a great place to be flying. It's very tactical, and from day one, you work with their joint partners. And you do missions that a lot of C-130 units don't do right away. And as a young pilot, he got to basically get his experience at Hope. He did so well that he went up to New Jersey to go fly KC-10s. So as he got to New Jersey, the fact that he went and flew KC-10s, the fact that he did some great things over that 4 years, the best thing that happened in New Jersey was he was able to meet the lovely bride. Now, I don't think it was, that the story goes, I don't think it was love at first sight. I think they were at just happened to be at a concert together, and young Doug Del Mar probably wasn't in the promised form, and so wasn't able to make a first impression. Fortunately, for all of us here, Patricia was able to look past that. Shine off a little bit of the outer surface and see what Doug Del Mar was really about. So that was really the best thing that came out of it. After he did that assignment flying KC-10s, then it was time to go do the first round of school. Now, he was lucky. He was able to go up to Rhode Island and go to the Navy War College. And but the thing that was really important about Rhode Island is Rhode Island sound familiar to anyone else? All right. Jenna was born in Rhode Island, which is the best thing about being in Rhode Island is that you first added to the Del Mar. Janice, you finished it up, sixth, going into sixth grade. Her whole life, as with all the rest of the children here, all they know is the Air Force. So I heard you're really great at sports. Heard if it's a volleyball, basketball, soccer, anything that has to do with a round object and there's something competitive, it sounds like you got a little bit of your father's athletic ability. Thank you, Jenny. And your mom. You got your dad's athletic ability and the beauty from your mother. So I think you did pretty good. Thank you for what you've done, Jen. And Jen gets to, I asked her how school was going this year. She said, it's really good because it's the first time I was able to stay in school for 2 years in the same school. You get to go home. You get to go home and you don't have to do that again. So as they lived up the leave Rhode Island, it's time to regroup. It's time to go back and do a staff job. All good awards go to great performers. They stay in the DC area, and as they're doing their staff job, something else happens in Virginia. Does anyone have a birthplace in Virginia on the side? All right, Mason and Danica. Oh, we're going to get to you. Mason, what a fine young man. I really enjoyed visiting with you today. Mason was born in Virginia as the Del Miners were on staff. If you take a look at what Mason does, it's amazing. He's an incredible student. He's an incredible athlete. And one thing I found interesting I learned about you is you're able to do this thing that has a bunch of wires across with little beads on it. An abacus, right? That was called. So for those who don't know what an abacus is, it's one of those things we usually buy in a shrine sale. But it's still actually used where it's a bunch of beads and you can give an equation a mile long and you can work this abacus and you can spit out an answer. So Mason was so good that he was in competitions to do that. And he was recently in a competition down in New Solomon. You are one smart guy. Congratulations to you and on your way back to Little Rock. You got a very bright future, young man. Again, I really enjoyed talking to you. So as they finally finished up staff in Virginia, Doug finally goes, it's time to go back to flying. And they get back to flying and they go to Little Rock. And that's where Doug gets to do his ops group command and his squadron command at Little Rock. And at that time, when we got it. That's right. I'm thinking there's a milestone that just about every move here. And Christian comes in. So Little Rock. Does that sound familiar? You're going to be going back home, and again, you are such a bright young man. You've got an incredible future ahead of you, and I'm really happy. So as they finish up Little Rock, it's time to go back to school, back to War College. And as they're at War College, you go to, was it War College? Yeah, so Danica, it's your turn. Virginia, right? You're born in Virginia. Miss Danica. Now, I've heard some great stories about her. I'm not sure if they're true or not. I heard that you like to run around the neighborhood a lot. Sometimes clothing is optional. You might want to trade that in here later on if you get older. You are so sweet. I'm gonna already miss that smiling about it. So you guys get to go on. Now during that time, right after Doug finished War College, he got picked up to be an OJ and he went downrange for a year to Kuwait. And during that time, he was the ops group commander Kuwait C-130s and also a lot of QJMC requirements that were looking at Kuwait. And so Patricia this day, after 23 years of service, we can't ask anything more than that. And I'm so happy for that. You are going to take this next chapter, and you're going to move it to the right, and you guys are going back to Little Rock, right here. So thank you so much. Word has it that the Del Monters are going to go back to Little Rock, and Doug's going to find a job there, you know, in Walmart or something like that. But you know, I heard he is actually applied to get a job at Disney. Did you guys hear about that? I saw an application that he wants to drive the boat down at SeaWorld. Okay. So I don't think the Little Rock's really part of the plan. I think this is a little bit on the side. I think we can see then well, I'll tell you, that is just an indication of what this gentleman is behind me. He is able to literally max out his career for 23 years, and he's walking away with an incredible family. And I don't think you can make it any more better than that. And Doug, I will tell you that 23 years ago, you took an oath that said that you would defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You did that for 23 years. You did take that obligation freely. And obviously you didn't have any reservations about it. For 23 years, you bear true faith and allegiance. And I can tell you that you have well and faithfully served in the office that our Secretary of Defense gave you for years. It's my honor to be able to be associated with you, to be able to serve alongside, to be part of this ceremony. 23 years of that service.
Please stand for the presentation of the Declaration and Publishing of Retirement Order.
Votes to order.
Attention to orders. Colonel Douglas C. Delamater distinguished himself by exceptionally meritorious condition in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander 374th Airlift Wing, Yokota Air Base, Japan, from 18 June 2014 to 31 August 2016. During his tenure, Colonel Delamater provided leadership and guidance to 4 groups and 17 squadrons, comprised of over 5,100 military, Japanese nationals, and United States civilian employees, along with 32 partner units, including the Japan Air Defense Command Headquarters, for a total base population of over 11,500 personnel. A strategic thinker, he was the driving force behind shaping a more robust sense of mission during his tenure. He pushed the wing priorities of people, readiness, and engagement to new heights through Operation Christmas Drop 2014 and 2015, the Department of Defense's longest and largest running humanitarian aid mission, making history as the first multinational operation of its kind. In addition, Colonel Delamater's strategic vision paved the way for the rebalance of the Pacific through expanded C-12 aeromedical evacuations and UH-1 search and rescue, providing critical life-saving and combat capabilities to the Pacific Command. Through his strategic vision, he led Yokota Air Base's C-130H to C-130J transition, identifying and advocating for necessary infrastructure, training resources, and critical manpower. His actions have paved the way for successful conversion through community socialization, resulting in assured political support for the Mobility Airlift mission in Japan. Furthermore, Colonel Delamater's commitment to local engagement was apparent as he brought about the first wing meeting in 3 years with the Tokyo governor, the first Japanese Ground Defense Force bilateral exercise in 7 years, and Yokota's first United States and Japanese professional development seminar, fostering an enduring relationship. Moreover, he keenly identified the infrastructure and resources needed to support the command's on-base first housing policy, working persistently to revise the plan, which ultimately increased contingency readiness, boosted morale, and saved an annual $5.5 million. Finally, Colonel De La Mater directed the development and implementation of the first sexual assault operating instruction with corresponding first responder checklists, incorporating sexual assault scenarios into the base's operational readiness exercise. These practices were lauded by the Air Force Inspector General as Air Force best practices and were introduced to United States Air Force Europe for testing on behalf of the entire Air Force. Colonel De La Mater's relentless dedication to mission excellence was the backbone of the wing's continuous recognition at higher headquarters, with 29 Air Force level awards, 160 major command awards, and the wing's receipt of the 2014 and 2015 Air Force Outstanding Unit Award. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel De La Mater culminate a long and distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Please remain standing for the reading of the retirement order.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force Special Order Number AL00300, dated 15 January 2016, effective 31 August 2016. You are relieved from active duty, organization, station of assignment, retired effective 1 September 2016 per AFI 363203 in the grade of Colonel, and are to proceed to your home of selection by order of the Secretary of the Air Force.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Lieutenant General Dolan will now present Colonel De La Mater with a certificate of appreciation from the President of the United States, which reads, I extend to you my personal thanks and the sincere appreciation of a grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice, in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. Your commitment and dedication have been an inspiration for those who will follow in your footsteps, and for all Americans who join me today in saluting you for a job extremely well done. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. Signed, Commander-in-Chief Barack Obama. At this time, we would like to ask Mrs. De La Mater to please come forward. Mrs. De La Mater will now present Colonel De La Mater with the United States Air Force retired pin.
Actually known as the commissary.
of Staff of the Air Force, which reads, "In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Trish A. De La Mater for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service." Thank you, Mrs. De La Mater. Colonel De La Mater, on behalf of Lieutenant General Dolan and the men and women of the 5th Air Force, please accept this gift in recognition of your leadership and dedication to your airmen, their families, and our host nation partners. Thank you, Lieutenant General Dolan. At this time, Colonel De La Mater would like to present flowers to Mrs. De La Mater, Jenna, and Danica, and to present coins to Mason and Christian for their sacrifice and unwavering support throughout his career. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Douglas De La Mater, United States Air Force, retired.
General Dolan already stole my thunder about thanking Megan for that incredible, both renditions of our national anthems. Thank you very much for doing that before I start. As you know, I do not like to write prepared speeches generally. I asked my wife about what she thought I should do today, and she said, "You should write a speech." So I follow those instructions. As you know, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I tend to be emotional. That's how it is for me. And this will help me get through it. It will probably be shorter than a lot of people expect because I tend to go along and be long-winded. That's because I want to spend more time thanking each one of you personally today before the ceremony later today. So thank you for being here. That said, Mayor Shizuka, Mayor Kato, Mrs. Kato, Mayor Kitagawa, Vice Mayor Sugiura, and Hayakawa, thank you for being such outstanding supporters and counselors. Lieutenant General Fukue, Lieutenant General Mihara, Major General Araki, Major General Yamamoto, and Setomi-san. Director General Koyanagi, Mr. Nakatani, Ms. Soignier, Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, General Mrs. Wise, Chief and Mrs. Green, Colonels Kamada and Araki, Colonel Yazoo, Warrant Officer Tanaka, Mr. Nozawa, Mr. Kobayashi, and every one of these names has deep meaning. Ms. Yamazaki, Ms. Sugiura, Ms. Sawanabori, and Mr. Takagi, esteemed Friendship Association members, Rabbit, my good friend, Neil and Melissa, group and squadron commanders, chiefs, first sergeant, and spouses of all the incredible airmen I just mentioned. Airmen and families in Japan, airmen and families in Australia, and finally, airmen and families of America, thank you for being here today. Lieutenant General Mrs. Dolan, thank you for being here. Thank you for the incredible support over the years. Thank you for those kind words and for the recognition of my family. We know this is about them today. And so to all of us, all of those that are seeing this ceremony, each and every one of you has touched our collective lives as a family in ways that we will not soon forget. And we are grateful that you've chosen to share this occasion with us. As I look out into the audience, and even more so as I ponder how we are being joined today by so many friends and loved ones from afar, I'm humbled and truly overwhelmed by the strength of the partnerships, friendships, love, and fondness that each of you represent. The kindred spirit of service for our fellow man, shared by the people gathered with us now, is a tie that has bound and sustained all of us along life's journey thus far. And the knowledge that there are people who want to mark the passing of this milestone with us is truly comforting and sustaining, encouraging, and profoundly humbling all at the very same moment. And in considering our new future, your presence here today gives us perhaps the greatest gift of all, hope. Hope that the ties of service that have bound us together in the past will sustain us in the future and all the days that remain. Please know that while we still have youth and strength, my family and I will continue to serve the very same causes to which we, all of us here, have dedicated our lives. Service to things much larger than ourselves. Our God, our families, our nations, our communities, and our friends. And while our youth and our strength will inevitably wane, even as our final sunset approaches, never will we forget you, nor our shared commitment to the humanity that makes life on this earth truly beautiful, despite the inherent failings and frailty of man. And so I must admit to you all that though I have heard the famous quote, you've all heard it, by General Douglas MacArthur, "Old soldiers never die, they just fade away," I really was never quite sure that I actually understood it until now, this very moment. And so it is that I and all of us here will fade away, but by the grace of God, the goodness and strength of all that binds us here will never die. And so today is certainly a day that I will mark well in my memory, as the veterans of our nation's war will attest, especially those veterans gathered here in this room today. The memory will be bittersweet, thinking about all the people to whom I owe so much. My mentors and guides, counselors and wingmen. There will assuredly be a bittersweetness as strong as the bonds that are formed between true brothers and sisters in arms, bonds which can never be broken. But I will also recollect promise. Promise is powerful as the patriotism that has driven generations of airmen of kindred spirits like those here assembled to answer our nation's call. Generations of airmen who leave many of us to wonder, where do we get such men and women? And that question is especially poignant for me right now, as I know that I'm ending my active service, and so will leave the defense of my family, my spouse, my children, and myself to those that follow us in service. But the answer to the question, where do we get such men and women, is of course simple. We get them from the fabric of our societies, from the shared values that form the foundation of the unmistakable strength of our great nations and of our great alliance. In my country, we put it simply. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And as long as there are free men and women like those here today, who are willing to step forward and commit themselves to defending the freedoms we all hold dear, we will rest easy. And so it is truly impossible to put into words the depth of our gratitude to you all for giving us this confidence, this hope, and this faith in our future. To Tricia, Jenna, Mason, Christian, and Danica, I thank God for the gift of you in my life. You are my everything. I can say no more than I love you. To my mother and father, brother and sisters who all raised me, and to Tricia's incredible family who welcomed me into their world, we owe you everything. We love you. And finally, to all here assembled, I would ask simply this: despite the bittersweetness of the day, that we remember it, and in so doing, renew our commitment to service, to being part of something so much greater than ourselves. Thank you for everything. Keep the faith. Arigato gozaimasu.
Ladies and gentlemen, a United States flag that was flown over the Philippines aboard multiple aircraft during Exercise Balakatan 2016 will be presented to Colonel de la Mater, symbolizing the end of his 23 years of faithful and honorable service to the United States and the Air Force.
Sit down.
For more than 200 years, the American flag has been the symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Born on June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the flag presented before you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. The colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor, white signifies purity and innocence, and blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the stars and stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's Fort McHenry that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous flag salute and patriotic oath. In July 1969, the American flag was flown in space when Neil Armstrong planted it on the surface of the moon. Today, our flag flies on constellations of Air Force satellites that circle our globe, and on the fin flash of our aircraft in harm's way in every corner of the world. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every airman who serves our great nation. The sun never sets on our U.S. Air Force, nor on the flag we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of Americans has been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's airmen remain committed to preserving the freedom that others won for us for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it a distinctive fold, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for freedom at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, airmen have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict on lands and skies around the world. It is their responsibility and our responsibility to continue to protect and preserve the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we as Americans enjoy today. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we all share and the pride and patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and all. Long may it live. Jenna, Mason, Christian, and Danica every success in their future endeavors. We wish them good luck and Godspeed. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and departure of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. On behalf of Lieutenant General Dolan, we thank you for attending.